Today is Saturday, March 28th, 2020. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Winners at War Week 7.
We have got quite the show. There's definitely some topics that need discussing. Did she quit? Did she not quit? What does this mean for the old schoolers versus the new schoolers? These are hot topics. And what does the merge hold as we're headed into the merge, and we're confident that we have the return challenge, because we went back and studied the end of the episode and looked at Next Time on Survivor, and there are 8 lanes for the challenge when they're standing there and Jeff tells them to drop their buff, and there are 8 people on edge of extinction.
And they showed them standing on the sideline.
Yeah. So, well, to the side. Yeah, they're to the side of it. It's not really clear the way it got framed, but you can see just the edge of one of the platforms that they start on.
Pretty clear.
Okay, according to Joanne. It's just crystal.
Clear. Yeah, it is.
It's not from Next Time on Survivor, but if you look at the press photos, you can get a better idea.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what she really meant. How many folks do we have? How many super fans checked in this week?
35.
Okay, biggest show of the season. Here we go. Let's kick it off with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, another fantastic episode with all this coronavirus stuff going on. I'm digging Survivor big time. It's helping a lot. I got a great big however, no singing because I'm sad about the outcome. Yule, the last of the old school players sent to the edge. All the ones that were from seasons 1 to 10, 10 to 20 are all gone, and you have one that quit. Well, I guess I'll sing for Sandra. Na, 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 na. Sandra is the weakest who couldn't handle it. So now she's retired from Survivor, and that maybe will be the end of Sandra. But who knows with her? I wasn't surprised she quit. But it's crazy. The ones that are still in now are all from the 20s and 30s now. So we'll see what happens with the merge. And I guess I gotta say, Michele and Nick, I guess you could say they made the right choice, because again, Yule, like all the old school players, was just seen as a threat. And I think what hurt Yule was him maybe over-strategizing when he talked with Michele at camp, and I think at Tribal when he made that awesome speech. I think Michele and Nick saw the handwriting on the wall, and that's why they took Wendell's side. But I gotta see some extra clips to see what was not shown. But wow, I'm hoping now, could it be Wendell or Adam that goes at the merge? Could be Sophie, but remember, Sophie is an idol. I think you might see some idols found. I don't know what's gonna happen with these fire tokens, and I'm surprised, you and Stacy, we didn't see anything for the challenge for Edge, and I heard there could be 2 people coming back. Is that true? I gotta really look into that. It'll be interesting, guys. I don't know who to root for here. Well, I would love to see, I think, Natalie come back, or Yule, or Ethan, any one of them but Amber or Danny coming back for me. We'll see, though. I'm digging this season, guys. We finally get the merge, and now it's gonna get dicey, baby. So sit back, relax, and let's see it all play out, and let's see who comes back from the edge. Can't wait, guys. Take care. Let's check out some extra clips. Woohoo!
Woohoo. I wish the extra clips were better. They were very light.
Yeah, we thought we might get to see the reward challenge, but
no such luck.
Nope.
It's like it didn't exist there, although I
There
think
were some pictures.
Dalton, well, they were pictures in the press release. That's how we knew
Yeah.
about it. And Dalton Ross tweeted them out, and then Sarah Lucina responded and said, "Thank you." I was starting to lose my mind a little bit because,
Yeah, her husband didn't believe her.
yeah, I was expecting that
She's like, no, you didn't have a reward challenge.
Must not have happened.
They would have shown it.
pigs
She's
or
like,
it didn't
no, I know
happen.
it did.
And then, sure enough, there were some pigs, so that helped her there.
Well, she should remember they won
Yeah.
and they got pizza.
Yeah, so I'll include a link that refers to that in the show notes. And then they showed tree mail for the immunity challenge, which had kind of a bogus clue for each of the 3 tribes. They showed them all reading that. They really let us down there with the extras. There was one good one where Ben finds a snake, and you get to see Sophie conquering her fears a little bit. So there was a little character development in that extra one.
That was about
good.
it, though.
In the tree mail with the Sele tribe, it happens really quickly, but you see where Wendell has been up early and has made a necklace and gives it to Michele on the morning of day 18, as we're all wondering what's really going on there. Another hot topic for this week's listener feedback episode. And everybody's got their feelings about what's going on there. And I've been getting quite an earful with regards to Michele. So we'll be discussing that more as we go through these.
All righty.
Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. Survivor fans, I believe this episode may prove definitively that if you are making assumptions about what is truly going on in the game based solely on what they show us in the 40-some-odd minutes every episode, you are out of luck. This show is produced, and therefore the product we see is produced. When I first saw Yule's name on the cast list, I was excited. It is so commendable that he is playing for ALS. I still like Yule, but I feel like I was also reminded why he's never been one of my absolute most favorite players ever. There is such a thing as being too cerebral, and I think Yule falls into that category. He was getting way too ahead of himself, way too fancy, trying to do too many moves ahead. Survivor requires planning, yes, but I contend, as I always have, that it is a moment-to-moment game. Yule's trip in Cook Islands was an outlier of this. He had Becky, who would have practically died for him out there. I respect Yule for realizing this and bringing Becky along because he recognized such loyalty, but without such a sounding board, I wonder if his mind wasn't spinning too much. In Cook Islands, Yule was also insulated with a loyal alliance and a so-called god idol. Those defenses allow someone to get nitpicky and overanalyzing because you can play from a cloak of safety. I do believe it was awfully short-sighted of Yule not to realize that while Wendell and Michelle's past may be tumultuous, they clearly once had feelings for each other. In a game where you can't trust anyone, real feelings, whatever they may be, are important. I'm disappointed in Sandra for leaving. I'm not disappointed in her move last week. It was short-sighted, but she was playing the game. She is correct. She has little chance of returning to the game, but I've had liked to have seen her as a juror. I still love Sandra, but it's unfortunate she's gone. As for the upcoming merge, I have no idea how it will all shake out. Should be a thrilling mess, and I'm so excited. I think if Denise can blend into the background once more, my USB is looking more and more like a cat among the pigeons. Of course, more realistically, it's a cat among cats. No one this season, except perhaps one or maybe two, in my opinion, didn't deserve to be out there. I hope this is showing all the naysayers that Michele Fitzgerald is a terrific social player. I knew it, and you all should have as well. Glad that Tony and Jeremy both made the merge. Good stuff. I love this podcast and this game. Everyone stay healthy and safe. Joanne and Stacy, you two are incredible. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Boston calling in with my Winners at War Week 7 feedback. I don't have a ton to say about this current episode. I'm definitely sad to see Yule go. I think he's a great strategist, and I would have loved to see him go further in the game. And I also lost a save point, so that's a bummer. I am a little bit disappointed of the trajectory of the vote-offs this season because all of these quote-unquote old-school players are now, for all intents and purposes, out of the game. Maybe one or two of them possibly could get back in, but for the most part, the cast we have is the cast we're going to move forward with post-merge. And I just think it added more interesting dynamics when there was like mix of different people, particularly, and also like who the people were. Rob, Tyson, Parv, Yule just adds different mixes in the game of these people who are more like used to the advantage era of Survivor versus like the strategy and like the social manipulation, which is personally what I enjoy from watching the show. I'm sad we didn't get to see the reward challenge. Seems like in favor of Edge of Extinction, which is disappointing, mostly because I want to see people's reactions to Parvati and Sandra being voted out, which, while maybe not the most shocking, are two huge threats removed from the game that will ultimately affect everyone still in the game. So hopefully we can get that in an extra video. Looking forward to this coming week with hopefully the Edge of Extinction play-in challenge. So Natalie has 4 tokens, Rob has 3, but Amber has 1, so I'm wondering if she'll just give hers to him, and if they can buy an actual advantage in the challenge versus information about the challenge, which sometimes proves to be less fruitful and would be kind of disappointing, mostly for Natalie, who's worked really hard to get these tokens to have a better chance of getting back in. But at the same time, if someone has a physical advantage in the challenge, whether it's a restart like Malcolm had or some kind of like ability to skip a portion of the challenge or skip a level of difficulty, I don't see how anyone else would stand a chance. So we'll see how that plays out. And if they only are having one person join in, then it's merging at 12, which is interesting. Haven't done that in a while, which would be interesting if there was like a 6-6 division versus how do you get to the 7, I think, like you all were talking about in the recap episode. I'm going to be intrigued to see what that looks like, and it would just be really easy for Original to Call to just join together, but hopefully people like Kim will explore more original options, because that's just, I will find that kind of boring if it's just Original Red picking off Blue. But I'm looking forward to the merge and the play-in episode and hearing what everyone else has to say. So I hope everyone stays safe and healthy going into this week. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Liina in Estonia.
Hi, I think for Sandra, leaving was the best option. I wouldn't call it quitting. She's not good in challenges, and running up and down for a little rice is not worth it for a very little chance of getting back in the game. Also, better to leave now, not after a few days of misery. It's like choosing the right moment to leave the casino. You win some, you lose some, but you have to leave before you lose too much. You have to look at the cards you have been dealt and fold sometimes. Michele is stupid for giving away a fire token. Also, is Michele flirting with Wendell and trying to get him back? She's like, he hurt me, and I want to get him back at him, and then turns around and smiles and touches his beard. Come on, are they playing some secret game? It was Michelle's idea to get Wendell's tokens when voting him out, and Yule ran with it, came up with a plan, and it got him kicked out. Of course, Wendell wouldn't give any of them any tokens. We are also in quarantine here and trying to make the best of it. Fortunately, I can work from home and now have time to send my feedback.
Yay!
Loving your podcast more and more, and thinking of starting a summer marathon with watching all Survivor seasons and listening to your podcast for each episode. Stay safe and healthy, everybody. All right, thanks, Liina.
I think that's a great summer plan.
Yeah. Up next, we have a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. So we finally saw the vote out of Sandra. Look, I love Sandra and I have watched Survivor since the very first day, and Sandra is one of my all-time favorites. I was really hoping that she would win, but I totally agree with her decision. If that had been me, I would have done the same thing. Sandra is not good at challenges, and I wouldn't have been either. Sandra went out the same way she won 2 times, playing to her strengths and being aware of her weaknesses. She will always be the first 2-time winner and the only sole survivor to win against multi-season players who previously lost. Queen says Queen. The challenge was a real nail-biter. I wonder if Wendell had spoken up just a few seconds earlier, if they would have won, but that is what it was. and you'll have to go, my USB's gone. My heart's broken all over again. Oh, well, I'll have to live with it, won't I? Okay, now I think Wendell's getting a real negative edit, and I think he will be going to have a big downfall. I thought Rob was so impressive after being called a portly chap or whatever Tyson called him. Wow, I was so impressed with Rob. 3 fire tokens, he found them. Good for him. All in all, really enjoyed the show. Can't wait for the next one. And I hope everybody's keeping safe, staying indoors, keeping themselves busy, and praying for all this madness to end soon. Everybody keep safe, keep healthy, good luck, all the best. Bye.
Thanks, Rashmi. Namaste. Next up, we got a call from Sandy.
Hey guys, this is Sandy from Atlanta. Okay, I listened to you guys, so I have something to say, Stacy, but I do not believe that Sandra quit. And I don't think that her reputation is tarnished at all. I think she is a wise person who knew her limits. And she knew that she wasn't going to push herself. It wasn't worth it when she could go have a pina colada on a beach on that island over there rather than staying on this island over here. I think she knew her game was up, and I think it was time to go. Okay, Yule has just suddenly become the corporate human resources person. And he is so different from Wendell because Wendell will just lie to you. You can't trust him. His attitude towards everybody is terrible. Why didn't they get him out? I don't know. And didn't I hear Michele call Wendell babe? Honey, if this is your way of changing the way the Survivor people perceive you, I can't help you here. Yeah. I think that prior relationships should not be hidden in this game. It is there. We know it's there. There's a marriage there. So there are prior relationships. So how do we play Survivor, Winners at War, with all these? And everybody knows it. Are they hiding some of that from us in production? Or are they just bringing it out now because it seems to be such a big topic for the producers? I have to say something about Ethan, and it just really cuts close to home. I'm only 2.5 years from my own stem cell transplant, and I understand what he's going through, especially because there are medications that we will have to take probably for the rest of our lives. And I wonder if he's getting those medications. I would hope so. Or maybe that was a decision he had to make to not be within medical care. So anyway, that's me. Y'all stay safe. It's a jungle out there. Bye.
Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate you sharing your personal experience because you've been on that similar journey too. It's always insightful from that perspective, and I got to believe that he's definitely getting those meds. They do provide certain meds to people based on their conditions and things like that. So I seriously doubt they would do anything to put Ethan in jeopardy in that regard. Thanks, Sandy. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Robert in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Here's my feedback for this week on Survivor. Boston Rob proves that board shorts are better than man panties, and that you don't need youth, long flowing hair, and an entire jar of peanut butter to find fire tokens. Nick decides it's better to go with the devil you know than the one you don't and vote off Yule. Yule tries his best to adapt to the new way of playing Survivor, but instead joins the rest of the old guard on the edge of extinction. Sandra raises the white flag and decides she has had enough. Now she can enjoy her limited time as the only two-time winner right in the comfort of her own home. And she didn't get to go home. Parvati helps comfort Ethan as he and fans contemplate the whole point of being on edge of extinction. Wendell and Michele take on Nick as the unofficial third wheel in their relationship. Will their relationship last post-merge? Next week on Survivor, it's the merge. Cops R Us is back. Will Michele stand by her man or vote him off? Will we see more spy bunkers from Tony? And who will have the distinction of being the first player to return from Edge? Tune in and find out. Thanks for the great job you guys have done on the podcast this season. I look forward to hearing everyone's feedback on the episode. Thank you, Robert. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Right out the gate, I don't blame Sandra at all. Hate to see her go down like JT did in Heroes vs. Villains, but at the end of the day, I respected her decision to leave. She knew what she was in for. She knew she wasn't winning any challenges anytime soon. It does suck to see her past 2 performances be nothing short of poor, but hey, I for one am not taking her crown off. Bittersweet for many, as this is probably the last time we'll be seeing Sandra Diaz twine on Survivor, but it is what it is. Going forward, I really think the Denise, Kim, Jeremy trio is in the best position, which is cool because I like them all, but simultaneously makes me mad at myself on account of that I was 50-50 dead even between choosing either Denise or Yule for my USB 24. And of course, as we saw, I did not make the right choice between the two. Hard to say whether Yara will shape up and stick together, but since I just mentioned trios, then with regard to duos, I definitely think the strongest there is between Sophie and Sarah. But who knows? There's got to be some shift next week between Emerge and someone coming back from the Edge. Adam's onto something with Ben, seeing as he was an absolute idol king in Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, but he is what he's been for the past 7 weeks, whiny and paranoid. My mom brought up a great point during the episode. Now I'm wondering, if 2 do come back from the Edge, I feel like there's a chance one of them has to win a challenge while the other guy buys their way back, maybe. I beat Jeff to it. I distinctly remember this challenge from David vs. Goliath and Jabetti's miserable performance in it. Alright, there's no defending Michele this week, Stacy. Michele definitely clearly referred to Wendell as babe this time. Though through her confessionals, it's becoming more proven what her true intentions are, I think. So the Sele strategy and the tribal itself didn't entirely wow me. I already knew it'd be Yule going the second I saw Jeremy slap that piece in quicker than Wendell. For JSFL this week, I had Adam going with Ben, Nick, Jeremy, Kim safe. So of course, once again, a shot in the dark predicting which tribe would lose and go to tribal. But Tony and Yule, of course, would have been my alternate choices. And of course, me and Kim both this week lost our USB, and I hate to say it, but I don't see a great likelihood Yule wins any competition soon. And with that, I could even see him pull the flag maybe, who knows. Next time on Survivor, here comes the merge. And honestly, maybe they really are just merging at 12 this time instead of 13. We saw the overhead shot of the challenge, but no hint whatsoever that we'd also be getting someone else coming back. I'll hold on to hope that I made a good prediction, and maybe still we may see it happen, but again, who knows. At this point in time, it seems to me who is in the worst position probably has to be Ben and Adam. No offense to them, but to me they're coming off as the 2 brothers who constantly bicker with each other in public. They're together in each other's eyes, but simultaneously wish they could be the cool kids. It seems to me the 3 coming from Sele, being Nick, Michele, and Wendell, will all be a unit together, as the others from Dakal and Yara, who I already mentioned, which then leaves Tony, who will either be an easy vote out early in the merge, or a free agent who just might pull a bigger Hail Mary than we've seen in Survivor before. Likelihood of him winning is still not great in my opinion. He might make it to the end like someone like Gavin or Ryan, but if he keeps playing squeamish and paranoid, and he ain't getting votes for $2 million, that's for sure. That's all I got for this week, I guess. Joanne and Stacy, I will see you next time. Drew, it was really cool how you met Nalia. I think the only Survivor I have in Raleigh is Sydney from Token Teens, which, yeah, no one remembers, but I really liked that last week. All right, everyone, I will see you all next week. Look forward to some great feedback.
Thanks, Cameron. Good job. Cameron's the second person, Pete mentioned it too, that talked about the potential for 2 to come back, and I would not be surprised if Probst did that. He's so in love with the edge of extinction while they were out filming this season, and he wants them back.
I mean, 2 at once?
Yeah, that there could be the first 2 to finish come back. There's no like Cameron said, we've been given nothing, and Pete said he was going to check the extras for it. I haven't seen anything that suggests that's the case. And there's no option to buy your way back in other than being able to get close to the end potentially with buying up to 3 advantages for the challenge. But you can't buy your way in, at least not that we're aware of. Thanks again, Cameron. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha. Hey, Stacy, we owe you a big apology for our mess up on the peanut butter comment.
Yes.
We totally forgot it was you and not Joanne. I just remember Joanne saying, her little accent, peanut butter. Love that. And Stacy, we really appreciate you. We have to say that we know we send you every week, and it's amazing what you do with our audio. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
You make us sound great.
So this week's episode, Sandra quitting. We were disappointed, but I mean, I understand it, but it's a bummer that she didn't stick it out.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, there's people on there that I think they're older. I don't know, maybe they're not, but it just seems like if she had stayed in, it would have made the season just that much better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Joanne, I love your theory about the Wendell-Michele relationship and how she's kind of got that addiction to him and she can't help herself.
Yeah.
That helped me to make so much sense of what she was doing. Because I kept thinking the whole time, I mean, she's giving him a fire token. She's voting with him against Yule. I'm like, what are you doing, Michele?
Yeah.
And that makes so much sense to me.
Right. And we all have that friend, where it's like, girl, what you doing with him? You can do better.
Yes.
Come on, Michele. And then Yui, we loved seeing Rob get some of his joy back and just have so much fun finding those tokens. Love the edit with the flashback.
Yes,
I thought
that was so exciting.
Yeah, that made it very entertaining. We really enjoyed that.
I like watching Rob have fun. It's fun to watch him have fun.
Yes,
I enjoy
very,
that.
very entertaining.
But Yule, my USB, I'm so sad. I really hope he comes back because I just love watching him play.
Yeah.
Asian represent.
Oh, yeah. And we think he has a great chance of coming back.
Yeah.
I think, boy, I really haven't seen much of Natalie the last few UEs. But we're rooting for you. Hope you can come back. And even though Wendell's my USB, I'm not really rooting for him. It's so bad, but I don't really like him.
Yeah, he's getting the jerk at it, I feel like.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
what's happening. But we're stoked for Merge next week.
Yes, Merge. Exciting things to come. Thanks so much, Joanne and Stacey.
Yes, thank you guys.
Love you.
Hey, we got to love you in there. That was
I
awesome.
like it.
Thanks.
And I appreciate your acknowledgement of what Stacey does with the edits because he does it for me all the time too because I annoy him with all my ums and uhs and all that kind of stuff. But
we
he
both do
takes
that.
them. He takes them. Yeah, but you're the one that has to take it out for me. So.
I just get
But anyway, thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah.
He does work very hard at it.
Yep, still learning, still working on it. I appreciate that. And I agree, Yule's got a great chance for coming back in. So he basically arrives
I think he does, yeah.
on night 18. He's going to get to turn around and try the challenge on the morning of the 19th. For all we know, that seems like what's going to be the case, right? So we'll see. But he's got an excellent chance. He's still relatively fresh in that regard. So I agree with you there. And I don't think Yule will give up at all. Yule's on a mission. He's there for ALS. So if he doesn't make it this time, he's going to stick around so he can try and make it in the second time. Next up, we got an email from Ken from everywhere now in Ohio. Okay.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey, this is Ken from everywhere. I think it's been a few years since I wrote in. My life, as it always was, has been a blur of nomadic movement. I think I'm finally settled near Dayton, Ohio, with a great new job.
Awesome.
Congrats. First, I want to send my wishes that this community is staying healthy and safe. Please stay socially isolated to whatever extent you can and wash your hands. Michele has always been underrated and is really showing her stuff. Being an Adam or a Riot, they are a critical part of my enjoyment of the season. It's really annoying how Jeff keeps talking down to old school players. They started the game with a 13-7 deficit. Jeff, as usual, being unfair to build a narrative.
Got to tell that story.
I support Sandra's move. She had far less than a 1% chance at the challenge to get back in, and it had nothing to prove. Edge of Extinction is not Survivor in my mind, and she's always been against that. So, last thing, where can we go to donate to the podcast? In these crazy times, I want to thank the people who bring light to my life since I was not financially impacted. Thank you both for everything.
Well,
all right,
you.
And thank you, Ken. And you can tell him how to do that.
There's, in the show notes, every episode there's show notes. So if you go to getsfp.com and you scroll down and you'll see for the episode and it'll say read more. It's got just a few teaser lines for each episodes from the first part that I do to introduce the episode. And if you click on Read More and then scroll down, there's a donate button, and it'll take you to that PayPal page where you can make a donation. We appreciate that. Thanks for the thought, and thanks for asking. And we're happy for you that you found a job and a place to settle. That sounds great. Next up, we got a call from Ann and John.
Hi, Survivor fans. It's Ann and John.
Good job, Green Team.
What did you think of that immunity challenge, John? Did you like the challenge where they had to carry those gigantic buckets?
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
He's jumping up and down right now. What else did you like about it?
I liked the bit where you had to pour water in it, and then like those bags came down, and then you did the puzzle.
Did that look like a hard puzzle to you?
Yeah, it was like a hard puzzle.
Yeah, me too. You had to keep pounding it. But you liked that part, then you kept pounding on the table too, like you were doing it. Anything else you wanted to add, John?
No, nothing else.
Okay, you want to say hi to Survivor fans?
Hi, Survivor fans.
I don't have much else to say either. We're hanging out at home, homeschooling. It's going pretty well. And we're just keeping inside. But it's nice to have a podcast to listen to. I'm sad my favorite Yule got voted out. And I'm kind of sick of hearing about Wendell and Michelle's ongoing drama. I've never been a fan of that kind of stuff anyways. And so it's, 3 episodes now. They just keep talking about it. So I hope they move on to something else soon. But it sure doesn't seem like it. So now I got to figure out who my new winner pick would be, I think, coming up soon after the merch. Yep. So that's all I got. Hope everybody's hanging in there and doing well. Thanks for all you do, Joanne and Stacy. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, John. Good job. Really well done there. Next up, we got an email from Julie in Iowa. Hi, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor family. The only thing I wanted to add to what your feedback told us is, so after Yule was voted out and Michelle told Wendell she liked seeing him shaking in his boots, did you notice that she reached back and held his face in her hands? She certainly did.
Yes, I did.
And he jerked away, too. That looked intimate to me, but he pulled his face away quickly, yes. I'm wondering if they are putting on a show of not still being together and are secretly working together all the way to the end. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks, Julie. Good job. So the theme pre-existing relationships that they're beating us up one side of the head and then the other this season is true. It started with the fact that there's a husband and wife that were cast in the season, and then Yule dropped the big poker alliance on us. And now we've got this relationship, and it actually involves some other people who had a pre-season alliance set up. So, yeah, all this stuff is going to be ongoing for sure, because they've woven it deeply into the fabric of the season.
Do you think they're really still in a relationship? I actually hadn't thought about that.
No, I don't.
So that was a good thinker.
I don't think it's a case. It's a good question to ask for sure. Julie's definitely on top of it, questioning that. But I don't think that the relationship, the way it was, is. But in terms of a pre-season alliance, I think that was definitely there, and it's not limited to just those two. Nick's part of that also for sure. Mm-hmm. Next up, we got a call from Sophie and Leila.
Hi Survivor fans, this is Sophie and
Leila.
Yeah, we're here in Texas and we're back. We haven't contributed, we're sorry, but we've been listening and watching. It's been fantastic. We got so sick January and February. We were just down for like 7 weeks non-stop. Every type of flu and infection and bronchitis. It was just awful, but watching Survivor's been fantastic. Gets our mind off of what's going on. And who have we enjoyed watching?
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. So we're cheering for him. We want him to get back into the game. That was the highlight of last episode, I think.
Getting all of this.
Who would have known that somebody that chubby
the first to leave camp.
Yeah, could get up there, up the mountain and find them before Tony. So good for you, Rob. We're cheering for you. Now, if I had taken part in JSFL this year, I would have chosen Natalie. But I quickly would have regretted that, I think. I just want to cheer for people I really like Rob and hopefully Poverty. We cried with Ethan, and I'm just so disappointed with Sandra, aren't you?
Yeah, just because Rob said, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I would have never done that in the game. It kind of made her feel stupid at that point, to the point where she was like, oh yeah, I'm not fit enough to do any of the challenges that they probably have here. So she just left.
I'm so disappointed with you, Sandra. You should have just stuck it out and just been there and just, been part of the show still. And I think that it was so obvious when she gave her idol to Denise that Denise was going to do that. Why wouldn't Sandra, instead of everyone voting for Denise, why wouldn't Sandra just throw in any other name? Kim, or even Tony, who we love. Yeah. Why wouldn't she just do that? And then there'd be a chance that there'd be a revote. So it wouldn't be a revote. It would have just been somebody else, right? No, there would have been a revote. It would have been Sandra and whoever Sandra voted for. So, yeah, why didn't Sandra think about that? And nobody else mentioned that in feedback, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But that was terrible on Sandra's part. I don't know, we're enjoying it, but what crazy thing happened here the other day for the first time?
An earthquake?
Yeah, earthquake in El Paso, so 5.0. Oh, the challenge. Did you enjoy the challenge?
Yeah, I really liked how one of the tribes, I forgot which one it was, took its time to get the water into the bucket, and it actually worked, considering that you'd think that they would have had to gone back.
Yeah, we all cheered, right? So we hope you're all safe and enjoying it as much as we are. Hang in there, guys. It's not the end of the world, hopefully, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
You definitely had some troubling times there for sure. Earthquakes in Utah and now in Texas and all that sickness too. Well, we're certainly glad to have you back. Thanks, Sophie. Thanks, Leila. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Emily in California.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. I'm a new listener, and I love the podcast.
All right. Welcome, Emily.
I felt for a while that Wendell and Michele never broke up.
Well, there it is again.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are engaged or get engaged after this show. I think they faked their breakup so they could play as a team without becoming an obvious target. They are a secret alliance. I believe this because of the horrible way Wendell treats Michele, and seemingly for no reason. I think he's acting and overacting to make sure they are not pinned as a couple. Also, Michele says she is upset with the way Wendell is treating her and how he treated her in the past, but she backs him 100%. She even gave him a fire token to gain his trust. I think they are spreading out their weapons to get to the end together. No reason to give up one of her fire tokens. It's just so over the top. I think they are in love and have always been a couple. Thanks. All right. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah. Well, there's another one.
I know. I really hadn't considered that.
As you said, I'm awful at spotting those things, and now two women have asked that. So
obviously I am too, if that's the case. But then I was quite caught up in being annoyed.
Yes, you were. And it didn't end with the recap. Did not at all. That carried on.
Well, you had a lot of laughs.
You've been quite upset with her, but now you're okay.
I don't usually get riled too much.
But it worked its way back into conversation.
Several conversations where I was riled about it, and it just
how Michele is handling
him.
herself.
I was just trying to entertain you, baby.
That's what it was. I'm sure.
Yeah, there you go.
It wasn't that you couldn't let go of it. Thanks, Emily. Great to have you with us. Next up, we got a call from Noelle-n-Immie.
Hi everyone, it's Noelle
and Immie
from Albuquerque, calling with our feedback on the last episode. I was disappointed that Sandra left the game because now I won't be able to cheer for her, but I definitely don't get as worked up about people quitting as you do, Stacy. Sorry. What did you think?
No one does.
I thought that it was kind of pathetic that Sandra quit because the challenges probably all weren't going to be like all physical, like some are going to be in Sandra's strength.
Yeah, there might have been a puzzle or something that she could. I don't know Sandra well enough to know what she's good at, but it would have been nice to see her give it a shot. Yeah. But that's okay. I don't care that she quit.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but still.
Oh, I remember what I think is going to happen in the next episode. I think they're going to bring somebody back from extinction, and that person's going to get voted out. And it's a bummer because I don't know who that is, so I can't pick them as my vote out. So I guess I think I picked Ben. What do you think?
I think that that's probably also going to happen, but there is a chance that that person could also not get voted out because they could form another kind of alliance with somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe Adam, because
Adam's kind of on the outs, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a good episode. I'm anxious to see it. It's too bad that Yule got voted out. We'll see what happens to him on Extinction. That was your USB, huh?
Mm-hmm. And so as my point was saying,
our dog is making so much noise.
If Parvati gets back in, she can take advantage of Adam and kind of use him like a puppet.
Do you think Adam would work with her?
Yes, he's desperate.
Okay, well, everybody have a great week. I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Noelle and Immie. Immie's like wise beyond her years. Yeah, he's desperate. Sandra's pathetic. I loved all that. Great to hear you again, Immie. Good job, both of you. We appreciate that. Next up, we got an email from Barbara in Long Island. I had no problem with Sandra leaving the Edge. In fact, I wish they'd all leave the Edge and tell Jeff Probst to stick it. Oh, just kidding. Maybe. I picked Yule to go in JSFL because he was the last of the old schoolers. I think that was the plan all along, with the Wendell-Michele feud just a diversion. Who in their right mind would want to sit next to Yule in the final three? I was one of the fans who didn't care for Michelle's win the first time, but maybe that was because of the invisibility edit, that's for sure. She's certainly playing masterfully in 40, despite her new edit of being an abused ex. I don't buy it, and frankly, I'm tired of Survivor dropping us into uncomfortable social issues that might or might not be true because it's good for ratings. I like that. I do love this season. However, Tyson is hilarious, and I think he or Natalie will come back first from the Edge. I'm enjoying Sophie, Sarah, Ben, Kim, and of course Tony. I think Adam is going to stick around longer than we believe. Nick will quietly go deep. Jeremy and Denise need to be watched carefully, and Michele is going to devour Wendell in the end like a praying mantis and win. There's the prediction. What does everyone else think? All right, thanks, Barbara. We like that. Barbara's going all the way out there, calling the shots. Next up, we got a call from Nick.
Hello, Survivor fans. This is Jackson and
Nicola.
Today, Survivor fans, we're doing some feedback shows.
Who quit the game?
Sandra
Raised the flag, walked off the island, went to sleep in a nice warm bed, or a cool bed, I'm assuming, out there. Got some good food.
Yeah.
Probably had some wine.
And also, I really wanted Wendell to go out.
Oh, yeah, he's still mad.
Yeah, and who got voted out?
Yule.
And I really want Wendell to get voted out because he stole Parvati.
He stole Parvati.
With 4 fire tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to the island, Parvati. But now our USB is...
Denise.
She has 2 idols and she's very sneaky.
Well, she was very sneaky. She doesn't have 2 idols anymore. They're all gone. Did you like the challenge?
Yeah, where they had the take that big bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Did the green tribe win first?
They took it really slow and got all the water that they could through in the first go-round. And it took the other 2 tries.
And then they got the puzzle done first, right?
They did.
They went faster since they didn't have to go back.
They did.
And all of those obstacles when somebody's backwards, that would be hard when you have to step up on those obstacles while you're holding a big jug full of water. That would be hard.
Very hard.
Well, that was pretty cool. Woo, woo.
The whole Michele-Wendell thing, I'm ready for that to be broken up. I'm over it. She's doing herself no favors clinging onto that. Yeah, merge next week.
Merge.
Everybody's going to be together. No clue who's going to go off. I had Adam going this week. Maybe I'll just keep rolling that over. Although I guess I could put Wendell down because Jackson wants Wendell to go.
Because he voted out my USB.
Parvati?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Rob's being super sneaky over there on Edge of Extinction, getting all the fire tokens and not letting anybody know. That was kind of cool. And that's about it. That's all we got. We're running out of time.
No, save me. I don't want to go out to bed.
You gotta go to bed.
Well.
We'll say goodbye, Survivor family. We hope everybody's staying well.
All right. Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Just listened to your recap. Really enjoyed it. Wanted to send some quick feedback. So, yeah, it was a great episode. Your shows have been keeping me company on my little bit longer runs that I've been taking in the morning these days, along with some stair climbing at the high school where I went to high school. So it's been kind of fun to have you guys along on my solitary early morning exercise. But, yeah, quick thoughts about this episode. It was exciting. The challenge was excellent. Like, that was just a real thrilling. But a few thoughts about these people. I actually did not hate the Sandra business. It surprised me because I thought she was a little bit more in it to win it than that. But somehow the way that she presented it, I felt like it was almost like I could respect that. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain except that they made a very distinct point of her sitting out almost every challenge, and that's probably why, just so that it would make sense to think that she couldn't possibly win to get herself back in, or at least that's what she thought. She's not a presence in challenges at all. But at the same time, I respect Stacey's point about it's just a quit. There's no two ways about it. But I'm going to also say about Rob, good job, man. You looked on the ground and saw something sitting there and picked it up. Those things are not hidden. You're not the best that ever played just for finding something that's sitting in plain sight in the middle of there's not even plants around. It's just like a bunch of rocks and then a light-colored package. Like, come on. He can give himself credit for a lot of things, but for that, you got there first, and that's all there is to it. So, good job, man. Take the win. Yeah, so I did like how it was presented, though. That was kind of a fun flashback, like you guys were saying. Other than that, I don't know why it seems to always come down so many times to my vote-out pick or my USB, but it seems like that's happened many, many times over the last several seasons. So, yeah, Ewell was my USB, so I was really disappointed to see him go, especially since I am over Wendell. And you know what? If this Wendell had played his season, at least the Wendell we've been given in the edit, no way he would have won. No way he would have beat Dominic. No way he would have even been in the finals. Just, yeah, I'm over Wendell. Winner of the week, loser of the week, it seems obvious to give them to Michele and Wendell, respectively. But you know what? I'm going to give the winner of the week I'm going to give it to Ben, because I thought the way he was poking Adam was hilarious. I'm going to give the loser of the week to Adam because his spidey senses, they need a tune-up. Man, he's struggling. I wouldn't be disappointed at all if Adam were the next to go. And the final winner of the week, I'm going to have to give it to Survivor, the actual winner of the week, I should say, because we all know that Survivor is an escape, but never before has Survivor been such a delight to me and something to look forward to so much. I actually literally forget about everything else but Survivor when Survivor is on. So it's nice that it's such a great season. And, of course, always the winner of the week is SFP, everyone involved, Joanne, Stacey, and my friends around the world. So thank you, guys. Have a great weekend, and can't wait till next week. Bye. And, by the way, did I mention it's snowing? Yesterday, pouring rain. Today, a good couple inches on the ground. You never know what's going to happen next these days. Peace out.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Good job.
See, now, Drew, it's harder and it's easier for us to think we're impressive because for us portly people that are trying to get up that hill, that was the impressive part. He got up there and he got up there faster.
Yeah, good point. Next up, we got an email from JoanneO from we don't know where.
I'm raising my hand as someone who doesn't care that Sandra left Extinction Island. I don't consider it part of the game. Also, I hope Ethan leaves, as I think it would be better for his health. All right. Thanks, Joanne.
Definitely a lot of people who agree with you there.
That's true. I'm nervous about it, too. Poor Ethan. Up next, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey, it's David in Pittsburgh, and I'm trying to record this late because I'm on a message chain with a bunch of guys that keep pinging in about what they're having for dinner. They're driving me crazy, and I have a feeling it's going to show up on my tape, so I'm trying to do this without a lot of pings. Anyway, I've been really good at predicting who's going to go the past couple weeks. The only one I didn't get was Sandra, because, of course, she has an immunity idol, and she has to play it, so I knew that she was safe. Well, so much for that. But it does seem like those fire tokens have clouded the minds of some of the players. First Sandra and then Yule. As to Sandra quitting, I understand what you're saying, Stacy, but I just feel she just came back from being on the Island of the Idols for 30-some days. And, so she was living in the Taj Mahal that Rob built, but still, does she want to spend another couple weeks out on this island with nothing to do? And she knows she's not going to get back in. So when she left, she said, I'm still the queen, and I'll always stay the queen. And I agree. She was the first to win $2 million, and no one's going to top her, even the winner of this season of Survivor. So, Sandra, you have your crown. It's not tarnished in my eyes, and great seeing you on Survivor all these years. In the past couple seasons, we kept hearing about building a resume. Well, that hasn't happened much this season because the players have already come with their own resume. But I'm wondering about the players who play under the radar and if they might be at a disadvantage this season. We saw Denise make a big move and was successful, and Michele stay with her numbers. And both of those players, I feel, are under the radar players. So now I'm wondering how the jury, who's made up of winners, is going to see them if they make it to the final tribal council. I honestly don't remember much about either of them from their seasons, except in Michelle's case. I was a strong Aubrey supporter, and I thought Michele won only because of a bitter jury who chose her over Aubrey. But now that I see how she's playing, and she's likable, and she has a good social game, I understand it more, but without a big game move, I don't see if she's going to win the final jury. Oh, and thanks, Stacy, for explaining about the jury. I forgot that we're going to have 1,000 people on the jury at the end of this season. Can't wait to see what the next couple weeks bring. Good to watch Survivor in this time and to hear your podcast. So I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. You made it through ding-free. Good job.
I agree with what he had to say about Sandra as well.
Well, I think we got a little more coming on that because there's another aspect that we hadn't heard some folks weigh in on.
Good.
Yep. Thanks again, David. Next up, we got an email from Tina in Virginia. Hello, Joanne and Stacy. I hope you both are well. Like millions of us, I am in lockdown in New York City. Oh, my goodness. But unlike many, I did start preparing about 10 days before most and am well stocked. I am in a group of about 50 friends, and we are all helping each other. That's great because you guys are in quite the battle there. To fight the isolation, we play board games online using Google Hangouts. Oh, that's clever. Here are my thoughts on the last episode. Wendell has been acting very strange, and I'm not liking him much. I like Michelle's honesty about being burned in their relationship. It was good that he and Michele worked together this episode. How do you think their relationship will end on the show? Will they grow closer or more apart? What do you think?
I can't really see them being closer.
But if it's all a ruse?
If it is a ruse, then maybe. But otherwise,
So if it's not a ruse, she's never been willing to let go. So that'll probably just stretch out.
Yeah, you don't want to get me started.
Okay. We won't go down that path. Here we go. Back on track. I'm liking the Sophie and Sarah team, but as soon as I think that, I dread the day one of them will burn the other. Will there be a big breakup between the two? I used to like Sandra a lot, but in the last few years, I'm not a big fan. She pretended to be victimized by Denise, but the way I saw it, both were trying to outplay the other, and Denise won. Denise and Jeremy are my favorites so far. Stacy and Joanne, who do you think will return from Exile Island? That's all I have. Thank you, Tina. Good job. Like the questions. Who do you think?
I can't help but think Yule because of all the things they said in the last tribal. Otherwise,
felt like
I
that
would.
was set up for that. Otherwise, they would have left it out.
Yeah, I kind of did. So I don't know that I really want Yule to come back or not. I hadn't really thought about that, but.
Well, actually, there's another way they could be setting that up too, which is the old schooler, new schooler thing. So if Yule comes back and does well, and then it's Yule against the world, Yule against all the. And so if he's able to build something and make it work and doesn't immediately get sent back, then that could be a great arc to have. And of course, we all know what he's playing for. So yeah, you can't help but cheer for Yule. And you got to think Natalie and Tyson have a shot at it.
Absolutely.
And it's not a super physical challenge, and everyone has advantages except for Parvati and Yule. And I think it's something that Yule could make up pretty quickly, and it's got classic challenge elements in it. And the end is with the snake and moving the ball up there without it dropping. That's... Sandra could have done that. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little.
Well, and Yule hasn't been without food.
Right.
I mean, I know their food's limited out there, but they had a lot more at camp catching protein, and they just had a lot more food than they do on
relatively speaking.
Extinction.
Yes, and we don't know what people will use their fire tokens for. Several of them may feed, or they may go for the advantage. We could see everyone but Parvati and Yule with at least one advantage in that challenge. So it's going to make it tricky, but we've been told to watch out for Natalie, Tyson, Rob, and you can't help but cheer for Yule given his cause. And of course, it's the old schoolers that they all have fan clubs. Thanks again, Tina. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I know I haven't been leaving feedback. I've been recording it every week, and then I just haven't been able to edit it and send it in. But I'm hoping to tonight. You know how I was feeling when Ethan got voted off? You guys all remember that, right?
Yep.
This is the same, and it's been the same for a while. Oh my gosh, this season hurts. It hurts. And everybody on EOE is the people I want to be in the game. Take out Danny and Amber and add in Tony and Jeremy and Kim and Denise. Boom. Perfect. That's the merge. I can't remember if I made it in my Jabbic, but I did predict that Sandra would be the only person that would raise the mast and leave Edge of Extinction. There's no way she is hanging around Edge of Extinction. She sucks in challenges. Do I like that? Am I saying that's a good excuse for why she shouldn't? That is her excuse for why she shouldn't. But I despise Edge of Extinction as a twist. But if it is there, freaking use it. Use the twist. I don't care if a twist is broken. If it is in the game, use it. Best player of all time, the queen of Survivor, leaves Edge of Extinction. Except she didn't, because the queen is still there because her name is Parvati. Freaking Reem stayed on Edge of Extinction. I can't believe Sandra actually quit Edge of Extinction. And yes, it's a quit. It is a quit. Wendy and Keith quit, Sandra quit. But yeah, so lose the challenge. I had Adam going home because I thought, I still feel like that tribe is the weakest. They went first. Then the other tribe wins. I was really hoping it was Michele or Wendell. I knew Michele has just been getting too big of an edit to go out now. So I was like, okay, it's Wendell. It's Wendell. And I was thinking in the back of my head, man, it's gonna be Yule. It's gonna be some twist of fate. It's gonna end up being Yule. And then it happened. In a perfect world, Ethan Zahn comes back. I don't think Ethan Zahn is coming back. It's probably gonna be Tyson and Natalie, which I am fine with seeing. I love Tyson, I love Natalie, but I love Ethan and Yule and Parvati and Rob more. One of them, please. I don't know, man. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Like I'm more nervous. Like I'm less nervous about picking who I want to pick as the vote off, or my JSFL score, or anything, as I am about this challenge to get back in the game. I will see you guys next time.
All right, great to have you back. Good job on your edit there, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Slappy. I think Slappy was like inside his blanket fort, and his phone might have been outside, so there's some audio quality issues here, but you can still make out what he's saying.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. It's Slappy McGee. Hope you guys are doing well. Love the episode this week. It was kind of sad to see Sandra quit, but I totally understood it. I mean, she could have stayed and done some strategic things there, but there's pretty much no way that she was going to win a challenge against all those other challenge beasts and people who were playing so hard. It was not her type of game to play at that point, so she chose probably her best choice. I don't quite have the vitriol that Stacey had about it, but I understand that once she had been voted out, she knew that she had made a mistake. She had been outwitted there and outplayed, and she was not going to be able to do the same thing from the edge of extinction. So I think it was the best move for her at that point, just to go ahead and call it quits. As far as my USB Wendell goes, guys, can I change? Because that guy is kind of a jerk, and I don't remember that from his original season, so he's coming across really bad here. Maybe it's just the edit, but I don't know. I can't root for him. So, once again, I think I need to figure out another plan. I'll probably get a chance soon here at the merge. With the merge coming in, things will start to change a bit, so we will see what happens, but I'm enjoying it a long way. I don't know how they voted out Ewell. I mean, it was a great play. I think it was a good move in the long run to get rid of a threat like that, but I didn't see it coming, that's for sure. And I guess there were some people who saw it coming, but I sure didn't. I thought it was safe, but shows you how much I know. Not a lot, but I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I like the way the strategies go. I'm really interested to see a lot of these fire tokens come to fruition and see what happens there. I want to see these things start getting played. I think we only had one played, is that right? Just the peanut butter for Tyson? So I'm interested to see that all play out. Thanks so much for all you do, guys. Appreciate the continued entertainment, and I look forward to all the other Survivor fans putting their input in. All right, take care. Slappy out.
Thanks, Slappy. Yeah, we've definitely seen some people who are active in the game spending fire tokens to get idols and stuff like that. But yeah, Tyson's the only one who bought food on Edge so far.
And yes, you can choose another USB, not this week, but the one after.
Yep, after the merge. Thanks, Slappy. Next up, we've got a email from Jack in California.
This season is just getting better each episode. I wouldn't say I'm too surprised that Sandra did end up pulling the flag at the edge of extinction and leave the game for good, but I also wouldn't say that she quit the game. When she was in the game, every chance she had to sit out of a challenge, she did. So when it comes to the return challenge, I think she didn't have a shot at returning, which ultimately led her to that decision to leave the game. Speaking of the edge, Rob is a great player to be able to pull off the sprint to find 3 of the 4 tokens, while Tyson found only 1. I probably would use them to try and gain an advantage at the return challenge if I was out there. I think the few castaways that have a decent shot at returning from the edge at this point are Natalie, Tyson, Rob, Parvati, Yule. I don't think Amber or Danny have a shot right now. I was impressed with the slow and steady approach that Yara took at the immunity challenge. It paid off for them big time. From your initial recap, why do you think they didn't show the reward challenge? I do believe they should have shown us that, and I don't know why they didn't. As for next week, bring on the merge and the challenge from the edge. I had Adam as the vote out this episode, so I didn't get that. I had Yule safe too, so the side challenge is not done, but I'm almost the last player down there. Yikes. I hope to improve my JSFL score pretty soon, so I don't have to make my side challenge debut on here. I hope you can help me out, listeners. All right, thanks, Jack.
So why didn't they show the reward challenge? It's really simple. Probst dictates the narrative, and so he told the editors to cut it so that they could show Edge, because he's in love with Edge, because it validates his decision to include it there. That's my theory. Thanks, Jack. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Lisa.
Hello, Survivor fans. This is Lisa from the UAE, where last week we were saying, boy, there's nothing from the edge. Here, all we were doing was living on the edge. Boy, Sandra coming back and, you know, after telling all and getting a little bit of flack from the other players, she raises the sail. I wasn't surprised about that at all. I feel like I read an interview or heard an interview with her saying once that if she was ever put on edge that she would never stay there. So I don't know if anybody else remembers that or if I just put that in my head. She gives her final goodbye monologue to the tune of emotional and sentimental music, and she raises the sail. And I'm actually kind of glad they paid a little bit of tribute to her, seeing as she says, yeah, I'm retiring from Survivor, so just giving her props and paying her tribute in that way. Then they switched to Ethan and little muffin. I just wanted to give him a squeeze and say everything is going to be okay, buddy. And I'm glad that Parvati was there and to do that. And, it's friends are so important, especially times like this. You realize just how much we just need that support and love in our life. And then switch to Rob, boy. Rob was fun to watch with all the fire tokens and him running around. And the flashback was awesome where, everyone is going, who has the tokens? And everyone's stripping and doing the whatever search. And boy, Rob, you flash back and he's found them all and he gives that little smirk to the camera. I thought that was great. But I do have a question. Now that all the old schoolers are out, is it really that the old schoolers just, quote, can't keep up with the new game with its twists and turns? I have a hard time believing that. I've been thinking that maybe it's just because their names are bigger targets, either consciously or unconsciously, just because of the amount of history that they have in the game. Their play is legendary. It's almost mythical at this point because their names are so much bigger. They automatically had that big target. I don't know. What do you think? So I look forward to hearing what you all have to say about Adam and his spidey sense and Ben being annoying and Wendell and Michelle's odd yet antagonistic and flirty partnership. I don't know. And I was sad to see you'll go, but I really wasn't surprised at all. Do you guys take care? And yeah, look forward to hearing what everyone has to say.
Thanks, Lisa. Good job. What do you think? Could they not keep up with the pace of the game, or is the target too big?
I don't think that at all. I think they can keep up with the pace, but
Headhunting.
I also think that they were way outnumbered. Why wouldn't the newer school players get rid of them? That's the advantage right there.
Yeah, and it's tempting to think they all are on equal footing, but that's certainly not the case. We saw how much Amber struggled, and she might be one of the ones that couldn't keep up, but Rob not keeping up, I don't believe so. The only reason that the old schoolers, that whole theory about they can't match the pace of the new game is if they believe that. If they were to take that on, then yeah, I guess that could become their reality. But people were headhunting. Sarah talked about it, and Sandra joked with her about it. And Sarah talked about having that head mounted on the wall there in her living room, and that's it. Taking down Rob, taking down a Parvati or a Sandra, that's a big, big deal. And we saw all the celebration that Denise got from her tribe for doing that.
Yep.
So yeah, I like Lisa's idea that they're big targets, and it's on them much larger, and their style of play. I've always said I would look to get rid of Sandra quick. She's a proud player for her 2 wins, and so that makes me want to take her down even more.
What about jealousy as a factor?
Jealousy?
You guys have played a lot. Get out of our way.
I don't know that anybody's jelly about the whole
It's
thing.
like, Sandra, you won twice. Go away.
Yeah, well,
Rob, how many times are you going to play, dude?
As many times as Probst
I've only
calls.
played once. Get out of my way.
Yeah, I don't see any evidence of that. I understand what you're saying and the logic of it.
Oh, I can't help
and it's
but think
easy to dismiss.
that, and just having that on your resume. I took down Sandra. I took down Boston Raw.
Exactly. The way Denise pulled that off was even bigger than the way Sarah did it, at least from the way I recall. My memories faded a little bit from Game Changers, but
no.
I'm super impressed with Denise. It made me think even more of her, although I already probably had her on a pedestal in terms of Survivor winners. Yeah, thanks. Good question. Next up, we got a call from Kyle.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor fans at home. This is Kyle from Calgary, Canada, calling with this week's feedback. And I'm with you, Stacy. I think that this episode was a little bit of a dud. Yeah, I was really busy, but nothing really happened, did it? That's probably due to the fact that we spent so much time on Edge of Extinction, what with Sandra quitting and Ethan's mini breakdown and the fire token challenge. As far as I'm concerned, the less time spent, the better there, and they're just not getting that message. On to the actual game of Survivor. Seeing Wendell and Michelle's relationship and seeing Yule getting in the middle of it, I guess Yule just didn't really understand how some relationships work and how close Wendell and Michelle really are. Yes, it doesn't really come out because they bicker all the time, but they had a pretty intense relationship by the sounds of it, and the breakup is still quite fresh in Michelle's mind, but you can't really get in the middle of two people and how they decide to talk to each other. And on the topic of Wendell, I really don't love the edit that he's getting. It's coming off as kind of being a jerky edit, and I don't think that that's really him. I mean, I'm a big Wendell fan, so maybe I'm biased, but saying that he was showboating and stuff, we forget that Wendell was the guy who lost the challenge because Jeff wasn't paying attention to him when he finished a puzzle. Of course, I would make sure that Jeff was aware that they were going to win because that's happened to him in the past. As for other people, Merge is coming up. I think Adam's days are numbered. I don't think that he's going to survive much longer. I think he's just playing a little bit too hard. He's probably getting on everybody's nerves at this point. As for people who are coming back, it could be Natalie and it could be Rob. I'd be fine with Natalie, but to see Rob back as the only old school player back, I don't know. Maybe I'm done with Rob too. Now, on the topic of old school, new school players, it is interesting on how these old school players are really unable to keep up with this evolving game of Survivor. And it's interesting to see how some have really grown up and changed how they behave as well. I mean, you've got Parvati, somebody who is known for exploiting her feminine charms to get what she wants in one of the greatest moves in Survivor history. And, you know, she's being a caring individual who's more concerned about Ethan's health than anything. And that's good. That's good for her. Same with Sandra. I mean, she was the type of person to really kind of be cold-hearted in the game. And she sort of let that guard down a little bit and tried to be nice, and look where that got her. So I guess maybe the game of Survivor is evolving such that these old school players they can't really keep up. Maybe it'll be future seasons will be certainly affected by that, and I guess we're going to see a lot more this new school type of play. That's it for me. Again, Joanne and Stacy, thank you for continuing to do this. I hope you're staying safe and healthy and sane during these crazy times. And to all the Survivor fans that provide their feedback, I hope everyone's doing well and again, staying safe and sane and all that good stuff. Wash your hands, don't forget, and we'll talk to you all later. All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Kyle. Well, it was perfect. Another answer for Lisa there. Another take on the old school, new school. I'm not going to make excuses for Sandra, though. Next up, we got an email from Justin in Michigan. Hi, everyone. I'm getting my feedback in through email this week while my kids are napping. I didn't plan on it, but I guess I'll fixate on the topic of Sandra raising the sail this week. It didn't really bother or surprise me much when it happened, but I've seen quite a few people defending and making excuses for her decision, including the statement from Sandra herself. As a fan of the show, as all of us are, I would drop almost everything at the chance to play Survivor. The thought of getting the opportunity and then cutting that opportunity short under any circumstances other than a major injury or family emergency is unfathomable to me. Now Sandra's situation is a bit different than a first-time player. She's already won twice, and she had just spent 36 days in Fiji for Island of the Idols even before this season began. However, stating that she did not quit because she was voted out is false for this season. Edge of Extinction does exist for this season, like it or not. It is part of the game for this season. Quitting Edge of Extinction is quitting the game, in my opinion, because if you stay and continue playing, you still have a chance to get back in and win, no matter how small of a chance you personally calculate that to be.
I do agree with that.
Sandra has the right to quit, but call it what it is, a quit. I gave this analogy on the Facebook group, and after thinking it over, I still think it holds a little water for this situation. As a former athlete, I decided to enter into a competitive marathon. I do little training leading up to the event when all the other competitors work their hardest to prepare in every way possible. I choose to run using only my baseline athletic ability and past experience. Now, let's say I get halfway through. I realize I'm in last place and physically outmatched by the other competitors still running. Even though I have virtually no chance to win the race, I have the choice to give it my best and finish the marathon, or I can hang my head and walk off the course saying I did everything I could, even though I didn't. Finishing when possible is always the answer of a competitor. It is why Ethan stays at EOE, despite the strain it is putting on him physically and mentally, because he knows firsthand the value of perseverance. It is a trait, I think, all who play Survivor, and really anyone who enters any kind of competition should have. Steps down from the soapbox. Have a great week. Thanks, Justin. I appreciated that. That was a great analogy. Works for me. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hey, everybody. It's Kim from North Carolina. Last week, my satellite provider cut out after about 32 minutes, so I missed all the excitement that happened in the Denise Tribal Council, and I didn't even see the other Tribal Council at all. So I had to wait for Cameron to tell me what was up. Luckily, he did. So I'm not surprised about Sandra pulling the flag and giving up on Edge of Extinction. I think she's probably right that she wasn't going to make it back in. But I can understand how many purists really hate that she quit the game. It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm bummed that Yule is out, but it makes sense for the other players. And obviously, I'm not alone with 52 other friends who lost a USB. I'm not enjoying the Wendell and Michelle story, which seems to play into the usual tropes of the jerky man and the clingy woman. I would not act like that if I were Michelle. She needs to keep her hands to herself and just treat him like any other schmo that she's on a tribe with. To me right now, Sophie looks good, and so does Kim. And I don't know. It seems like Tony, Sarah, Jeremy, and Ben may be in trouble. Ben because, if they think he's a challenge threat and then he doesn't have that social connection, he could be in trouble. But there are a lot of winners out there, obviously. So I'm not sure where people will put Denise in the hierarchy of potential threats, but the truth is everybody's a threat now. I hope Yule comes back into the game, but he'll probably go right back out even if that does happen. I don't love the Edge of Extinction idea, but it does seem right to me that they'll have a full jury of past winners deciding who the winner is. And I'd just like to say that even though we are just virtual friends, I do consider you all friends, and I send my love and best wishes to all of you. And as I tell my students, wash your hands, clean your phone, and don't touch your face holes. Love you, bye.
Don't touch your face holes. I like that. Good stuff. Thanks, friend Kim. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Caleb.
Hi, this is Caleb from Texas, and thank you for doing this podcast. Hi, guys, and all the Survivor fans. I was super excited about today's episode. It was a great episode. I was very surprised in the decision to get rid of Yule. I wished a lot that Wendell would get voted out instead, and I'm just sad that there's so many old schoolers on the Edge of Extinction. Speaking of which, Tyson is my pick for next week to get back in the game, because they haven't really shown Natalie very much recently. Just in the past couple episodes, they've been hyping up Tyson a little bit, so I feel like that's my pick, and he's a very physical competitor. I was really impressed by Rob getting those 3 fire tokens in a matter of minutes. Props to him, but I still don't think he can get back in. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. The people who are in trouble for next week, in my opinion, are probably Adam, Wendell, and Ben. I'm thinking that Tony can hide behind some other people now that he's at the merge. Otherwise, he would be a pick to go home as well. I've been sucking at my JSFL because I only have 24 points. It's been really bad. My strategy was to pick big threats to be safe and just random picks to be the vote out, and it clearly did not work. I'm hoping I can change that luck because I picked Tony as my 5-point USB, so we'll see how that works out. Thank you guys so much for a great podcast, and I'll make sure to send in my feedback next week. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Caleb. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, this excellent season keeps chugging along. I'm looking forward to the merge, but I'm a little bummed that all the old school players are stuck on the edge. Here are my other observations. Wendell's coming out with a new line of furniture. the Sandra Sit-Out collection. The first two pieces are a bench and a mast. Rob is that former high school jock we all know who's always second-guessing current athletes. If queens have to deal with bad food or sleeping with rats, they abdicate. I hope that the editor's continued focus on Wendell-Michele interactions isn't foreshadowing for a very special episode of Survivor about emotionally abusive relationships. Yeah, let's hope not. Parvati talked to Ethan off the edge ledge. Tyson says Rob is a portly chap. It must be those 3 extra tokens he's carrying around his waistline. All the edge talk about frisking seems out of place in this time of self-distancing. It's true. Rob's batting .750, but I don't think the Red Sox will give him a tryout. As with certain dog breeds, you have to run Tony daily to wear him out and keep him calm. That's why they were making him sprint on the beach, huh?
You have to do that with children.
Yeah.
And animals. Mm-hmm.
Denise says she came to play. Yes, she certainly did. Adam's edit seems to be setting him up for a dingbat blindside exit. Fake idol victim? Yeah, maybe that's why Ben's collecting those beads that we saw in that extra video there. In the community challenge, Yara showed that slow and steady can win the race. You know, they deceived us there, too. If Wendell keeps talking the smack talk, he'll walk the perp walk to the edge ferry. When Yule isn't devising convoluted plans, he builds Rube Goldberg devices for fun. I believe that. If you were stuck on a tropical island with an economics professor, you'd send him home too. Fair point. Michele says the Sele 4 is a blessing and a curse. The curse's name is Wendell. I just noticed that the voting urn looks like a powder keg.
Complete with the fuse.
Yeah, I did too. I paused right there, but I remember when we were watching again after we had finished getting the recap out there, and I just noticed that too. I don't know why I missed it before. Right there with you, buddy. To paraphrase the Steely Dan song, we're never going back to our old school. Michele liked seeing Wendell shake in his boots. They must have gone on dance dates. That's bad. That's just bad. Next, we are merged. Strategic scrambling gets off to a fast start, and Adam mocks Ben. Will Adam's dingbat edit come to its obvious conclusion? Will there be a play-in challenge? Yes. Tune in Wednesday to find out. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's KimJ from Nashville. I work retail, so I'm still on the front line, so hanging in there as best I can throughout this madness, and happy for the distraction that is Survivor. I remember from preseason Nick saying that him and Michele and Yule had a pregame alliance, which we all thought was very strange. And so I'm just having all kinds of hard time with the vote this week, because it seemed as though Nick, Yule, and Wendell were so close from day one. And so the fact that Michele wasn't even a option leads me to think that her and Nick had a pregame alliance, obviously, because Michele said on her Twitter that her and Nick made the decision as to whether to keep Wendell or Yule. Or Michele and Wendell have a pregame alliance. And because their relationship on the show is just so weird, I'm over it. I'm ready for either one of them to go at this point, just because I'm sick of hearing about it. But they have a very weird dynamic, and I'm just not sure that Michele was ever going to really vote Wendell out. It just doesn't seem like that's something she's interested in doing right now. And so it's just unfortunate that they didn't just have them go ahead and merge. Like, I never like seeing 4 people go to tribal, because it's just not fun. You just need 3 people. There's 1 person on the outs. It's just, I would have rather have seen them merge, or done the thing where they have the bottom 2 groups go to tribal and vote off 1 person. I think would have been really interesting in this scenario. It's a bummer. Our last old school person is gone. My USB is gone. Now I've got to pick a USB 2. Don't really know who I'm going to pick. I like Sophie. a lot, but the fact that Wendell acknowledged that she's playing in the preview makes me kind of worry about her. I'm thinking maybe Kim. I don't know. I've got some thinking to do. When do we pick new USBs anyway? Hopefully not next week. Hopefully I'll have a week to figure that out.
Next week.
So the real reason I called was because I know a lot of people are going to say that Sandra quit. And I definitely was in the camp that I felt like Keith and Wendy quit in Edge of Extinction. But honestly, with Sandra, I feel like she knows what she's capable of. She's won $2 million. And if anybody is allowed the chance to pull up the white flag, it's Sandra. I would have liked to have had her stay and at least play out the challenge. But I'm just so anti-EOE that if somebody does want to quit, it really doesn't bother me. I don't need to see 25 people at EOE anyway. And I'm really worried about Ethan. I mean, I know he's fine. He's on social media. He's fine. But watching him on EOE every week just stresses me out. All right. I think I'm picking Adam to go next week, but I'm going to listen to see what everybody else says. Goodbye. Everybody stay well and safe.
Thanks, KimJ. Yeah, she's got the same opinion about Ethan as you do. Just stressing her out.
Yep.
Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, everyone. This is Jeremiah Panhorst here with some feedback, and there's so much to talk about. Let me jump right into it. Obviously, the biggest topic, it seems to be, is the Sandra thing. Did she quit? Did she not quit? And it's a very heated conversation. The way I look at it is everyone in a way is sort of right about this, because this season we have EOE, and EOE, of course, is an extension of the game. It's part of the season. So she quit that. She left. And, in that aspect, yeah, she's a quitter. But as far as the actual game of Survivor we all know and love, no, she obviously didn't quit. And Sandra would never do that, obviously. But, yeah, she did leave this. So, I get where everybody's coming from on this. I mean, personally, I was upset about it because I'm a giant Sandra fan, and I would love for her to at least stick around for at least a little bit longer to see if she could get through that first challenge and all that stuff, but she didn't. So, but I get it. I completely I support what she did because I get it. There's nothing else this woman has to prove. She was not going to probably win these challenges and get back in the game. It's just not probably going to happen. And I know her. I know what the kind of person she is. And she didn't even probably look at this as being a quit because she doesn't even respect EOE. She doesn't respect the twist. She doesn't like it. So as far as she's concerned, it's not part of the game. And I have to eat my words and say I'm sorry to everyone in the preseason that said this is what's going to happen. And I said, heck no, it's not going to happen. So I'm eating my words here. But yes, my heart was broken a little bit. I get it. I understand. And that's just how it is. Now, the other big thing, of course, is Yul getting voted out, and it broke my heart to see him go home. Honestly, I think both him and Wendell are just playing way too hard and too aggressive. They made themselves Giants targets, and a tribe that should have been so easy where the boys should have just voted out Michele. But here we go, these things happen. Now, was this more of just because how good Michelle's gameplay is or how poorly Yul and Wendell were playing? I think it's a little bit of both, but more about how poorly the boys have been playing. Now, of course, next week we have the merge finally happening, and that's always craziness. And I can imagine it's going to be just nuts. And then we have a potentially of somebody coming back from EOE. So who knows what's going to happen? Will old alliances stick together, or will these new ones be in charge? Probably be a little bit of both, is my opinion, is my guess. We'll have a mixture of both. But I think, guys, I'm going to stick with Adam going home next week because he's the one person that kind of has nowhere to go and no one really trusts him. So I could totally see him being the person who gets voted out. So for now, that's what I'm sticking with unless I hear something that is more convincing than that. So that's it for me. You guys take care. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Appreciate that analysis. And I agree, Adam is the easiest one to discard at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think he's a good choice, too.
We've seen their inability to make the easy choice all season long.
It's true.
So
but
who
what
knows?
Could also happen. He could be an easy vote off, but he could also
a swing.
Yeah, he could be a swing as well.
Yeah.
But he could also disappear. I don't think he will, because I don't think he will allow that. But I think he would be smarter and would do better if he just kind of stayed under the radar I don't think he can do that.
It's his best bet, and I agree. We've never seen any evidence that he can do that well. Thanks again, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a quick email from Michael in Utah. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. The Survivor Fans podcast is the best there is. I've listened to a wide variety, and Joanne and Stacy have by far the best. If you haven't yet left a rating, I would encourage you to do so. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
I just have 2 comments. I like the additional videos as well as the follow-up video commentary by Jeff Probst. My hat's off to the editors that are doing such a great job. Finally, let anybody win the chance to get back in the game, except Rob Mariano. I'm so tired of seeing him on my screen. Never liked him. I'm in that camp with you, buddy. For the sake of JSFL, I hope Natalie comes back. That's it. Short and sweet. You guys are welcome at my fire anytime. That's one of the best taglines we've ever had. Thanks, Michael. Great to hear from you again. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, that's it. All the old schoolers are gone. That's quite a coincidence that they all went back to back to back, just about. It makes me wonder, why did this happen? Was there more pre-gaming going on than we know? I don't know. I think there's just a lot to ponder there. I want to start off by discussing Sandra leaving the edge of extinction. I don't blame her for not wanting to stick around for a challenge that she knows she's going to lose. I also don't blame her for not buying into the whole edge of extinction gimmick. And if that was just the end of it, I would say go ahead, raise the sail. But she has 1 day left before the merge. And the question mark I have around all of this is the jury situation. Even if she didn't want to participate in Edge of Extinction, could she still have been on the jury if she would have waited till the competition was over and just sat it out, then chose to go to Ponderosa as a member of the jury and not as a member of Edge of Extinction, aka a player that actually wants to get back in the game? Where was the line drawn for being a part of the jury? Which raises an interesting question for me. Can you have part of the jury on Edge of Extinction and part of the jury at Ponderosa? At what point is it a quit, and at what point is it just opting out of trying to get back into the game? Because there are some players like Sandra who they have no shot. And empirically speaking, if you have no shot to get back in the game by winning a challenge, I don't feel that you should be denied your jury spot for choosing Ponderosa at that point over Edge of Extinction. Now, my question there would further be, where do you draw that line between jury players and non-jury players? I could go on for more than 3 minutes about this topic, but I wanted to talk about Jules' vote out, and I don't know, again, whether they did the right thing, just like with Parvati. I don't know, maybe after the merge, when they all come together, and an old schooler or Natalie comes back, I guess that might be the time for a larger group of new schoolers to band together and just wipe out the old schoolers, whoever comes back. But I'm really interested to see how the alliances all fall and shake out once this merge happens. I started out this season not a fan of Sarah, but I have to tell you, as the season goes on, I'm really rooting for her. I'm also rooting for Sophie, and of course I'm rooting for Denise. She's my USB. Jeremy's also somebody who is intriguing me. Every time they show him on screen, it seems like he's just looking very thoughtfully at everyone. He's keeping his mouth closed. He's keeping his game close to the vest, which I really appreciate. I don't remember him being that kind of a player. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to him. I'm also liking Ben. I've liked Ben from the beginning. I think he as a player is just such a different personality from everybody else. I just enjoy watching him. I'd love to see him go far. And honestly, I'd really love to see Tony pull a rabbit out of his hat and win this. I think he's the one that so many people think have no odds of winning at all. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait for the merge. Can't wait to hear the listener feedback. And can't wait for Wednesday. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Well, history says that you raise the flag, you don't get to be on the jury. So I'm pretty sure that's where we are still in that regard. But what I liked about what Jen said and what it got me thinking about is, why wouldn't you want to be a part of the jury? That, yeah, I get you don't like Edge and your feelings are hurt and they're making fun of you because you made a dumb choice and it backfired on you and all that. I think that was part of it. She's very prideful of her 2 wins, and so these 2 bad experiences, and this one being the worst of all, was really weighing on her. And I know she didn't want to sit around and hear Boston Rob make fun of her over and over again, but getting to be part of the jury and part of that decision, she could have been so, yeah, that's just another reason.
And don't forget too that she was saying that she still felt hurt that Rob didn't
Just another
tell
thing.
her.
And now he's got all this ammunition to make fun of her, too. I think she
So-
was embarrassed, and that was probably a big part of what was going on. Because ideally, with the legacy that she had prior to this, you want to be part of the jury. You want to be able to help crown that winner, and that's part of what you get with Edge, is you get to be there for that. You just have to stick it out.
I can't help but think those 36 days on the island of the idols, she was just done.
So what that tells me, though, is that she shouldn't have come back. That's a decision that you make that says she didn't even belong there to begin with.
Well, with her not liking Edge of Extinction, I think that was probably her criteria as long as she was in the actual game. But to her, she knew she didn't have a chance to win her way back in. Or that was her.
Let's talk about that some more. We got one more call to do, and then let's circle back on that because people are forgetting
That's
something
really
about
all
that.
I had to say.
I know, but
You have more to say.
I think
Okay,
we will
get it.
together. How's that?
I see. I'll
Thanks.
listen to you, baby.
Thanks, Jen. We got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. Okay, so first, I hadn't fully realized that when you were voted off, you weren't actually given the option to stay in the game or to leave. I suppose the producers just felt that would be ridiculous considering the caliber of players this time around. However, Sandra, being the polarizing player that she is, well, she decides to walk away without even trying our fourth tribe out to see what kind of a fit she could possibly maneuver into. I have to say, I'm disappointed. I mean, on the ladder of Survivor, this sort of puts her on two different rungs. One on the top, and the other a step lower than the one that Wendy and Keith share, because even though they abandoned the game, they at least gave Extinction a shot before walking away. Maybe she forgot, but Sandy's only going to maintain a solo spot on that top rung for a few more weeks now. In the end, they probably balance out to somewhere in the middle. At least that's the way I see it. Also disappointing was the fact that we lost a quarter of our airtime due to Extinction Island shenanigans. Although, maybe I'm bitter about that only because Rob now has 3 tokens. I know that this is speculation, but I believe that if there had been a box of crackers on that Extinction menu, Tyson's fire token would be history. So, Rob has 3 tokens and Natalie has 4. That means that Natalie will have some serious competition when we get to the comeback challenge, which I'm hoping will be next week. Personally, I want Natalie to kick Rob's portly butt. And speaking of Rob, have we noticed that when Yara removed the dead weight, they started winning? Just saying. Oh boy, though. Poor Yule. Yeah, I completely agree with Stacy in that this was Yule's Michaela and the Shells moment. It was all so familiar that I'm going to call it Deja Yule. Sometimes, well, most times, a player can be too smart for their own good. Some things you've just got to keep to yourself. That said, I'd rather have seen Wendell leave just to end the drama, but you know what? Michele goes overboard and feeds that drama fire all the more. Was it last week or this week when she was calling him babe yet again? Yeah, that was during the challenge this week. And why, with all of that drama between them, would Sele pick them to work together on the puzzle? Put Yule in one of those positions for the win, please. Yeah, separating these two is the key to peace on Earth because, wow, even in this broken up status that they maintain, it's, well, dysfunctional. And why does she keep touching him in affectionate ways? Did you all see when she held him by the face? There was no need for that. And what was the deal with her giving him a fire token? Fire tokens can purchase many things, but affections are not on the menu. Still, if it's up to her, I'm sure they'll be kicking it again before the season ends. So who's to go after the best part of the game to me, the merge? Well, let's face it, Adam is, what, freaking out? That doesn't truly convey his mental state, but it's the best I can come up with. If he can't let go of this Ben thing and the Sarah has an idol thing, well, this could well be his undoing, but perhaps not this week. Currently, I'm thinking that the muscle needs to go, and that means either Jeremy or Tony. Now, Jeremy can literally walk away from it all if they don't blindside him into thinking that he's safe. And if he walks, then could Tony be the fallback vote? All I know for sure is that these two are the ones I'd be shooting for. So I guess that's it. Lastly, thanks Joanne and Stacy for constantly having my back with a roster. I don't know why, but on Wednesday night I always have a miscount with the fire tokens. I guess I'm showing my age, and it ain't pretty. Everyone please be safe. Catch you all next week. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Good job.
You know Michele had to have told Wendell how many tokens she had. I bet he had even at least suggested she should share them with him prior.
Because of what he did to draw Parvati's attention and all that exchange.
For
It was all
whatever
part of
reason.
a plan, perhaps, even in one potentially as convoluted as Yule's.
Or even a suggestion if you really cared about me. You'd want to share it.
You're going back. He is the villain. There's no doubt that they have painted him in the villain box. I saw he was even talking about it in
Well,
a
definitely
tweet.
they have, yes, but
Yeah.
but I question her actions way more.
I realize
than
that.
his.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yep.
like,
You're giving her the credit for all that. Yes, in our other
why
discussions.
are you tolerating is basically it. But anyway, now you had something you wanted to say.
Well, in terms of that being able to be on the jury and the importance of it, I think that's where she really missed out. And she won in, 3 different challenges just this season. It's easy to think of her that way. She paints herself in that box, and Parvati labeled that as the Sandra sit-out bench, and Jeff went with it. But this isn't a grueling physical challenge, and you wouldn't even necessarily expect it for the people on the edge, given how worn down they are. So she could have stayed and tried that.
There's
It's not.
no way she had a chance.
That's not true. We've seen
don't
Sandra win challenges, even
Yeah.
physical challenges.
True, but I don't think she had a chance in this challenge.
Now you can convince
Against them.
yourself of something like that, but I don't think it's fair to say that is the case because she's never won challenges. She has won challenges. She's been
has.
significant in her tribe winning challenges, and she's better at some aspects of challenges than others. And yeah, it makes sense that maybe you're the least effectual person, or you don't really care and you can sit out and that makes someone else take the risk, which you can use as ammunition to get rid of them. There's all kinds of angles that she plays because she's a smart, savvy player, even though I don't agree with her decision. But what they're going to have to do, they're going to come off a platform and climb across a rope bridge and collect bamboo slats that are in bags.
Mm-hmm.
And
They have
then-
to untie knots to get them.
Yeah, to untie some knots at one stage, and then they're going to have to build that classic bamboo pole where they tie the bamboo pieces together with cordage and reach through a doorway to retrieve a key ring and then unlock the door and go through, and then they're going to have to pull levers to maneuver the ball up this snake maze that we've seen them use in a couple of seasons now.
Yeah,
These
that's
are
a
all
tough
things that she can do, and she's was in a season when the first Outcast came back where they had to tie the bamboo slats together in the competition to get out.
A long time ago.
But she knows all that. So I don't want to
I
grind that
trust-
down to the ground, but I think you can make excuses, and then there's the quitting, and she missed out on an opportunity to be in the jury and to improve her legacy.
I trust her judgment of her abilities.
I think her judgment was clouded.
I think it was to some degree. I think she didn't want to
She's
do,
butthurt.
she doesn't like Edge of Extinction. She didn't want to do it.
Just got
She didn't feel
humiliated.
it, and she'd just been on an island way too long. Because by then that was day, 20-something. And she'd already spent 36 days over on Island
16.
of the Idols. And
She went out on 16, I
yeah,
think.
so that's a very long time.
Okay. Yeah, you can frame it all those ways. Some of those, like I said, are reasons why you shouldn't have went back out there to begin with, and we could have got someone else, which is what I'm always thinking about when I'm looking at a quitter. You wasted a spot.
Yes, we know.
The other thing that I wanted to circle back to with Adam is he seems most likely, and we've been, people have pointed out, he's got the dingbat music and all that. It's the person returning from Edge of Extinction that offers him cover. That desire to send a message about Edge of Extinction where, let's just say, Natalie comes back. She's the one who ends up winning the challenge, and she's back. And then what do? To send a message, you vote her, and you vote her out and send her right back, and that's how Adam gets a pass. So that's another way where Adam gets some cover, because that Edge of Extinction person is of a higher profile, because there's no real good mesh or connection with anybody who comes back from Edge of Extinction, and you really don't want someone from Edge of Extinction to have that same advantage where they've bonded with everyone out there
On the jury, yeah.
So you want to keep people who've been voted out on edge of extinction. You don't want any of them coming back and having that bonding advantage. So that's going to be a powerful motivator.
That's why I would actually myself prefer to see the jury come out of the 12 people that move forward from the merge and not the people on EOE go back to the Ponderosa and they're done.
Right. This is the end of Edge.
But I don't think it's going to happen that way.
Yeah. Ideally, if you've got to have it and they're going to do it, then it should end at the merge and the return challenge here, and then you do a normal
Now,
jury.
if Ethan loses, is he going to stay to the next opportunity?
Great question. There's going to be another challenge. He's going to have another moment where he's going to have to face off with all that again.
Is it worth it to his body or to his mental anguish about it to
He's going to be tested, and well, while we may not see it in this next episode for week 8, that's going to be featured in week 9. I can almost guarantee it, him wrestling with that again.
Well, and I can't see Danny getting back in just because they've hardly showed her at all. We've not seen her talking a whole lot.
She's had a few moments, but you're absolutely correct in that she hasn't been featured. And you could put Parvati in that same bucket too, and Amber likewise. They haven't had the feature that Natalie has because they haven't delivered results the way Natalie and Tyson and Rob have.
Yep.
But I think that if you're into Survivor and you knew that Edge was a part of it, that you're going to stay there to be a part of the jury. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of people leaving. And
I don't know if anybody would work with Parv anyway.
Doesn't seem like it.
Natalie has a better shot than
She's got
Parv.
zero traction. Yeah, Natalie's got a way back in with Jeremy. I don't know that Parvati or Amber or Danny or Ethan or Tyson or Rob have a way back in. They're just as likely to get immediately voted back out. They would have to win the challenge on their own. So if Rob did that and he had the immunity and he spent his 3 tokens on an immunity idol, then Rob will be there through week 8 and Adam goes most likely as my pick. But I suspect they're going to be buying advantages to help ensure the challenge. They get through the challenge. And I guess the question is, how early can they buy those advantages? Will they get to see the challenge, or will they have to buy advantages prior to that? But that's going to be a big part of this next episode, I'm sure, because of the return. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, but I certainly wouldn't want any of them to stay. I enjoyed all of this. You guys did a great job. We want to thank everyone for taking the time. We appreciate it. Yeah, we're all under a lot of tension, and these are uncertain times, and it's great to have this escape, and it's great to gather together and share our thoughts and prompt us into thinking about different aspects of it. We appreciate it. Thank you for your thoughts on the game and your predictions, and we're definitely going to be pondering this as we make our picks going into week 8. Good job, everyone. A big thanks to Hazel for your continued subscription, donation, support. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate that.
And if you're playing in Jezebel, don't forget to make your picks for next week before the deadline, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesday.
All right. Anything else?
Just, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the weekend.
Okay. Yep. And have a good one.